bit about myself before I get into the nuts and bolts of my presentation. I am from Suffern, New York. I am a Rotarian in the afternoon club in Ridgewood. I have been involved in scouting since I was in first grade, which some folks will argue was about 5 minutes ago. It was just a little bit longer than that. I am slightly older than I look. Most folks say that's a good thing. I've been working for the Scouts professionally for almost a year and a half now, and am very happy today to talk a little bit about it. But before I go into that, I always like to ask folks, was anybody in here involved in scouting or is still involved in scouting? I know a few of you are. I've met a few of you, like I said, once or twice. Fantastic. So I'm just curious, what was everybody's favorite part of scouting, if I could ask a few folks? I bet you would.
Camping.
Camping, excellent. Anybody else? Favorite part of scouting? What you enjoyed the most?
Camping.
Camping. Cookies. All right. Different scouting, but equally important and very tasty nonetheless. Camping is a great part of scouting. We do a lot of it. We go out in the woods, we get rough, we get hurt, we get scraped, we get dirty. But in addition to all the outdoor things we do, we like to instill our scouts with character development. That is probably the biggest and arguably most important thing that we do, and we have the stats to back it up. In 2015, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Richard Lerner out of, I believe, Tufts University, my apologies, did a study on about 2,000 scouts in the greater Philadelphia area. They studied these kids over the course of about 3 years and found that in as little as 1 year of involvement in the program, these gentlemen rated themselves higher in areas of hopefulness, cheerfulness, obedience, kindness, future outlook, and many others. Now, to all my scouts in the room, I'm curious if you recognize any of those points. Would somebody mind helping me out with that? I haven't had my coffee yet this morning. Jeff, do those things look familiar to you in any capacity?
You've ever mentioned the Boy Scout law, right?
The Boy Scout law, 12 points that we try to judge all of our actions on, that we use to decide if something we're doing is good. And those points are as follows. A scout is trustworthy,
Loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean,
and
reverent.
Thank you, guys.
Right.
In addition to that, we also have our scout oath. If you guys would help me out with this one. On my honor, I will
Do my best to do my duty to guard my country,
to obey the scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. Now, judging by how familiar everybody is with this, you'll know that we open up most of our meetings with that, but it really goes so much farther beyond just opening up our meetings. This is our mission. This is what we aim to do both in ourselves and instill into our youth. We want these people, these youth, these kids, and even the adult volunteers to be the best they possibly can be. And personally, I like to think we do an okay job at it, but we have some more stats just to help you digest and prove that. We currently have around 2.5 million young men and women enrolled in scouting, and around 52,000 Eagle Scouts just last year. We've earned over 1.8 million merit badges in the year of 2018. That number, some of you may not have a lot of reference, but that's 1.8 million things kids learned about activities, skills, possible careers, and all that and the like. 64%, there we go. 64% of Air Force Academy grads were Scouts. 70% of Annapolis grads were Scouts. We have 58% of West Point grads were Scouts. And I know a number of folks who go to West Point. I can tell you that the rank of Eagle Scout gets you high consideration to get into the academy there. Additionally, we have 72% of Rhodes Scholars. We have 85% of FBI agents, and 181 astronauts were all involved in scouting. What I'm trying to say here is Scouts go places. Scouts do things. But why should we join scouting? If those stats weren't enough, there's just a million other reasons. Who here, by show of hands, thinks kids would be a lot better off if they spent less time behind a screen?
Oh.
There we go. I agree with that too. Now, technology does have its place in today's society, but it goes without saying that scouts and kids, rather, would be much better if they were able to go out in the woods, if they were able to get dirty, jump in puddles, go play in a river, do things we did back in our day, right, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 4 days ago. It gets kids back out to do things that they're just not doing anymore, and learning important skills in the process. They will get to do things provide service to others. They get to build self-confidence. They get to learn how to be leaders. They get to learn public speaking skills. I can tell you guys, before I was a scout, I would have been standing up here kind of like, all right, so next they do that. Whereas now, I like talking in front of people. I enjoy it. I like getting out and spreading the message, doing things that other folks aren't able to do, and I learned those skills in scouting. And it gets to reinforce ethical decision making, which I don't think we can all agree is also something that the world could use just a little bit more of. So I'm going to go into a little bit about some of the programs that we offer. It seems like we have a lot of people who are familiar with this, so I won't spend too much time on it. We have our Cub Scout, we'll start with our Lion Scout program. This is actually a pilot program that just recently became official a couple of years ago. In years past, Cub Scouting traditionally started at the Tiger rank, which was for first graders. We had a number of folks who were in kindergarten and their parents who expressed interest, so we figured we'd give it a shot. This is sort of your taste of scouting. This is sort of, hey kids, this is what you can do. So they're not going out doing anything extreme. We're not giving them knives. We're not giving them guns. We're letting them play with arts and crafts. We're letting them come to the meetings and sort of get a feel for it. They're interacting with the older guys. They're seeing what it is they can do if they stick around and go into the full-fledged program of Cub Scouting. This is what I would describe as, and some folks might yell at me for this, scouting light. In Cub Scouts, you do go camping. You do go to camp. You do go outside. You do your normal rough and tumble play. But it is still more of a learning the basics type program. This is where you're going to learn the gist of the values, where you're going to learn the oath and the law. You are going to go, like I said, you will go camping, but you're not doing any of the extreme stuff just yet. However, if they stick around for a while, they get to join the program. There we go. Now known as Scouts BSA. Now this was formerly known as the Boy Scouts, and I'm going to touch more on that later, but we did start allowing girls to join our program in February. We also allowed girls to start joining the Cub program actually last fall, and it has been going tremendously. I do not remember the exact figure offhand, but if memory serves, we've already recruited about 70,000 girls in the past few months, and that number is set to grow exponentially, so we are very excited for that. Our Scouts BSA program, this is the real deal. This is where the rubber meets the pavement. This is where Scouts are going out there. They are climbing, they are camping, they are rafting, boating, fishing, doing it all. They are shooting, they are whittling, I was about to say cutting, but we are safe with our knives, I swear. And doing all of those things, and more importantly, learning all of those skills. You are going to learn how to be a leader. You're going to learn how to function as part of a team. You're going to learn how to be a citizen, to practice service above self, and do all those things you see Scouts doing. The nuts and bolts of our program is right here, but it is not the only thing. So before I go into other stuff, Family Scouting is what we call our new initiative that allows girls to come in. It started in February, and it allows girls to earn the very, 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 very honorable rank of Eagle Scout. More on that in a couple. Never mind, more on that right now. Eagle Scout is a fantastic rank and an honor and an award, and above all else, it is an achievement. It will open doors for people that otherwise would have remained closed. I got interviews to colleges I had no business going to. I got interviews to jobs I had no business having because I was an Eagle Scout. I didn't get the job. But nevertheless, the person let me in and they told me point blank, I saw you were an Eagle Scout, so I'm going to give you a chance. Tell me what you got. And I did, and nevertheless, I was honored to have that opportunity. There are scholarship opportunities. There are, I think I touched on all of them, but there's just 1,000,001 different reasons to go for Eagle Scout and 1,000,001 more reasons why it's beneficial. If there's one thing I had to say about Eagles, and I like to say this to folks when I attend their ceremonies, it is that out of every single person I've ever met, the ones who are most able to solve problems, a very, very important skill, are Eagle Scouts. And that's not to say they don't fail. Eagle Scouts fail all the time. They're the best at failing because when they fail, they brush the dirt off their knees, they get back up, and they try something else. Something that more people would be better if they were able to do. But back to some of our other programs, we have our venturing program. Now this program is very centrally based around rank and advancement, but it also circulates around high adventure. Venture Scouts are going out there and doing the most fun of the things. They are going rock climbing in extreme situations. They're going backpacking. They're going rafting. They're doing the coolest things a scout can do. This program goes up to the age of 21. So after a scout earns the rank of Eagle, which you have to do by the time you're 18, you can join this and continue your scouting career and earn all of the amazing awards there, the top of which is the Summit Award, an Eagle Scout equivalent that one might argue is even more difficult to get because of the fact that there's just a lot more hands-on things to do for it. We have our exploring program, which is something we have been growing in our area exponentially over the past couple of months. Now, this is a career-based program. We charter these things out of hospitals, out of electrical engineers' shops, out of police stations, fire stations, you name it, they got it. And this is to help scouts or potential scouts find out what they want to do. The program is tailored to each individual field. The chartering organization has the right to run it however they please, and I would really love to see this one grow, if I'm being honest, because it is a fantastic way for kids to get out there and learn a little bit more about the world, something that many of them aren't able to do from the comfort of their basements where they're playing all their video games. And then there's one last program which frankly many folks don't even know exists, and I do think that's a shame, although we don't live close to many bodies of water, so I understand why around here it is not as big, and that is Sea Scouts. The best way I can pitch it is it's scouting on a boat. The gentleman who founded the Scouts, Lord Baden Powell, also founded this program around the same time to mimic the British Merchant Marines at a time where there weren't enough folks serving in the British Navy, which at the time was a very, very large force to be reckoned with. It centers around nautical-based skills. They do tons of things out at sea, out at the lake. The one ship that I have the pleasure of serving over in Wayne does a number of incredibly cool things. They go for a 2-week-long trek up the coast of Maine. They compete in national Sea Scout events, and actually I think they came in second one year not too far ago. So they're doing a lot of really great stuff. Like I said, around here, this program isn't as big. The largest body of water we have access to is the Hudson, and there's only so many people out there with large boats that want to take kids out on them. But in other areas out down south, areas out in the Florida Keys area especially, this program is very big, and you would hear a lot more about it. So a little bit about our council. This is our office building over in Oakland, New Jersey. I took that picture. Actually, I took that picture a little while back. There's still leaves on the trees. Never mind. We serve around 162 Cub packs, over 170 Scout troops. We serve 26 crews, 21 posts, 4 ships, and a total youth of 14,266. That number is now much higher. We actually serve closer to 15,000 now. We are on track to be one of the only councils in the entire region to grow year over year. We are very, very, very proud of that. Some of our camp properties where we do all the fun stuff I mentioned is Camp Yawpaw over in Mahwah, New Jersey. This is a Cub Scout day camp. We bust them in from all over the place. They serve a lot of scouts every year, over 450 to be precise. I work very closely with the director there. They put on a great show for these kids where they get to learn all sorts of cool stuff. Up in the hills, they get to go swimming in a lake, which I find more and more that kids don't actually get to do anymore, which I think is a shame. And gives kids a great taste of what Cub Scouting has to offer. On the resident side of things for Cub Scouts, we have our Camp Lewis. Now this is a sleepaway camp where scouts and their parents can go for either 3 to 5 days. I work closely with that ranger as well. They do a ton of great stuff. They have a lot of great staff members. Everybody is high energy, dedicated to what they do, and they serve over 200 scouts each summer. I know that number seems smaller, but that is because it's a sleepaway camp. They're staying there for longer, so the actual capacity of the camp is lower. We have Camp Sorella.
Yes.
I know a number of folks here are very, very sweet on that place. Fantastic place over in Cuddybackville, New York. A true scout camp, if I say so myself. Massive waterfront, great programs, great staff on the come up. A lot of great improvements coming down the pike for them very soon. Serving over 400 scouts each year, and that number will be higher this coming summer as we have had a very, very successful promotion track so far, and more to come. A couple of new units that we're going to do as well this year, guys, so keep your eyes peeled. This is a resident camp, Scouts BSA. The older ones, they will go there, stay there for a week. They will work on merit badges. They will work on advancement. They will do all sorts of fun things with all sorts of other fun people. We have Camp Toby Bosco out in Blairstown, New Jersey. This camp, exactly. This is where they filmed the original Friday the 13th movie, and we do have occasional events there to bring the cult fans out and show them everything and where everybody was murdered. Lots of fun stuff, right? They serve a whopping 1,500 scouts every summer. This place is great for new scouts in particular as they work on some early age scout advancements. They do a ton of different merit badge programs. I hear the food is pretty good too. Great place to go if you're interested in seeing the movie or just want to learn more about scouts. And lastly, we have Camp Floodwood up in the Adirondacks. This is high adventure based. You don't go to Floodwood because you want merit badges or rank advancement. You go to Floodwood to do all sorts of cool things. I know I use that phrase a lot, but I'm a kid. Be real. The most popular programs we run up at Floodwood are a week-long canoe trek where they will go, they will bring their food, they will pack out on a boat, and they'll come back in a week. They go camping out on the sides of the banks. They will go through whatever weather they have to navigate themselves, they pick their own direction. It's a lot of fun. I hear all the scouts who go on this have a great time. The one camp I have not visited because it is 6 hours away, but I am slated to go sometime in the spring to help them set up shop. The Ramapo Valley District, the area I have the privilege, honor, and enthusiasm to serve, is Northern Bergen County and all of Passaic County. We serve over 104 units broken down as you see here. The number that you see there, the number of youth, that number is also higher now. We have had a very robust recruiting season. We are now closer to 4,200, and we are still working on growth as the job is never done. And more to come with folks like your support. So I hope that by the end of this presentation, we all understand the benefits of scouting. Who here, by show of hands, would believe that if more kids were scouts, the world would be a better place? Fantastic.